purpose of GeneLab is twofold: to support human exploration of space and to support scientific discovery to improve healthcare for humans here on Earth. GeneLab is a wide-ranging initiative that seeks to multiply the number of investigators exploring biological processes on board a space station and other space platforms for biological research. So it's an initiative that involves a data system, an operations component, as well as sample planning and collection and recovery processes. In order to understand biological processes and how they affect humans in space, we have to start at the very basic level, which is the genetic code. And we study the biological process as it's encoded in the DNA, then how it's translated into biological processes, biochemical processes within organisms, including humans. So the data we collect starts with the DNA sequencing and follows through into its translation into proteins, and then levels of proteins and how they are impacted in various biological processes in the human body. And by understanding all those different processes that are impacted, we can hopefully develop measures to limit the effects of space on humans. One difficulty with the open science approach that GeneLab has is we're going to collect large amounts of data. So this brings up difficulties of data storage, data transfer, data retrieval by our users. So we are developing methods so that they can access this data in a reliable way, in a way that ensures that the data that they get is the best quality and of the best use for their analyses. The biggest motivation for undertaking the GeneLab initiative is the limited resources to be able to fly space experiments on board International Space Station or other platforms. The number of experiments that can be flown is limited by the resources required to get the experiment up into space and to support the operations of the experiment. The benefit of GeneLab is that we'll collect more data from those limited sets of experiments that fly. That data can then be reanalyzed for other research questions by a larger number of investigators and accelerate scientific discovery. Understanding how these biological processes shift in space has relevance for medicine applied to humans on Earth. For example, in the case of muscular dystrophy, we want to understand what is going on in the biological processes that lead to muscular dystrophy. The same sorts of atrophy and muscle wasting happen to astronauts in space. So we see a connection studying the biological processes on astronauts in space and the effects of a disease like muscular dystrophy here on Earth.